You know, when we think about how World War II was won, we usually picture generals, tanks, maybe even a new kind of bomb. But what if I told you the key to victory wasn't any of those things? What if it was a secret army of 9,000 people, hidden away in the English countryside? It's time to forget the myth of a few eccentric geniuses, because the real story of Bletchley Park, well, it's the story of a secret city that literally changed the world. See, on one hand, you've got the story we all kind of know. A couple of brilliant men tinkering away in some fancy mansion. But the reality was something else entirely. It was a sprawling, secret city, an intelligence factory with a population of almost 9,000 people. The sheer scale of this operation was one of the war's most closely guarded secrets. So why? Why go to all this trouble? Why build a secret city? Well, because they were facing a villain that wasn't a person, but a machine. A machine the Germans were absolutely convinced was unbreakable. And here it is, meet the Enigma. Every time you pressed a key, it sent a letter through this absolute labyrinth of rotating wheels, scrambling it into what looked like complete gibberish, with trillions, and I mean trillions, of possible combinations that were reset every single day. It was designed from the ground up to be impossible to crack. But here's a twist that gets left out of the story way too often. The mission to beat the Enigma machine didn't actually start in Britain. Nope, it started in a quiet office in Warsaw, Poland, years before the war even began. Get this, as early as 1932, a team of Polish mathematicians had already figured out the Enigma's internal wiring. And just before the invasion of Poland in 1939, they gifted their British allies everything, all their research, their methods, even fully working replica machines. So Bletchley Park wasn't starting from scratch. They were given a massive head start. Okay, so armed with this game-changing Polish intelligence, the British started putting together their code-breaking army. But trust me, this army didn't look like any army you've ever imagined. And this might be the most astonishing and overlooked fact about Bletchley Park. Take a look. A staggering 75% of the staff were women. Many of them were from the Women's Royal Naval Service, the WRNS, and they were the absolute lifeblood of this entire secret city. 9,000 people. Let that number sink in for a second. This wasn't a small team. It was a town. A whole town dedicated to one single secret, with every single person sworn to a silence that they would have to keep for the rest of their lives. So how do you even recruit for a secret army? Well, not with push-ups and obstacle courses. You do it with crossword puzzles. Seriously, British intelligence actually used newspaper competitions to find people who could think sideways. They recruited chess masters, linguists, scholars, and even high society debutantes. They weren't looking for soldiers, they were looking for puzzle solvers. And right at the heart of this incredibly unconventional place was, of course, the legendary Alan Turing. He wasn't just a mathematical genius, he was the perfect embodiment of Bletchley's eccentric spirit. I mean, chaining your tea mug to a radiator so no one steals it? At Bletchley Park, that was just considered being practical. But this army of brilliant minds needed weapons, and the weapons they built were unlike anything the world had ever seen before. These were machines designed to fight other machines. This absolute beast is the Bombay. It was born from Turing's genius and built on that early Polish ingenuity. Now, it didn't just brute force the code. Instead, it worked like a super-fast detective. You'd feed it a clue, a likely word you'd expect to see like weather or Heil Hitler, and the Bombay would race through thousands of possible settings, eliminating every single one that led to a logical contradiction until only the correct answer was left. The Bombay was a total game changer, for sure. But the Germans had another cipher, an even tougher nut to crack, called the Lorenz cipher. This was used for messages coming straight from Hitler and his high command. To break that, Bletchley Park basically had to invent the future. And this is it, Colossus. This wasn't a machine of cogs and wheels anymore. This was a machine of light and electricity. With thousands of vacuum tubes, it could process information at speeds that were just unimaginable back then. This was the world's first programmable electronic digital computer, a secret weapon built to read the mind of Adolf Hitler himself. So all this secrecy, all this innovation, what was the payoff? I mean, how does a broken code actually help you win a war on the ground? Well, the intelligence they were producing was so unbelievably vital, it got its very own security classification, Ultra. This was information considered even more sensitive than top secret. It was like having a direct window into the enemy's entire operational plan. Just take the Battle of the Atlantic. This chart tells a really dramatic story. With ultra-intelligence, the Allies could literally steer their supply convoys away from German U-boat wolf packs. You can see it right there. Shipping losses plummeted. Without it, they were sailing blind. Ultra didn't just break codes, it directly saved countless lives and vital supplies. But having this knowledge, it came with a terrible, terrible burden. If you act on it too perfectly, too quickly, the Germans are going to realize their codes are broken. This led to some absolutely heart-wrenching decisions. To protect the secret, sometimes they had to let an attack happen, sacrificing lives in one battle to save millions in the long run. An impossible choice. So, when the war finally ended, the crowds cheering in the streets had absolutely no idea that this secret army had played such a massive role. And for the codebreakers themselves, the war wasn't really over. Their part, the silence, had just begun. You see, the end of the war was the beginning of a whole new secret. Bletchley Park was systematically erased from history. Those incredible, world-changing machines, they were dismantled. The records, burned. And every single person who worked there was sworn to a lifelong silence under the Official Secrets Act. For more than 30 years, the world knew absolutely nothing about the secret city that helped win the war. And the impact of this secret city? Well, today, historians are in pretty wide agreement. The work done at Bletchley Park shortened the war by at least 2 years. Think about that. 2 years. Millions of lives saved. It was the silent victory that made all the other victories possible. So, what is the true legacy of Bletchley Park? Is it the incredible machines that became the ancestors of the very computer you're watching this on? Or is it the story of 9,000 ordinary people from all walks of life who were brought together in total secret to achieve something absolutely extraordinary? Maybe the biggest lesson here is that the most powerful force in the world isn't a machine. It's the collective power of human ingenuity.